Good morning. This is the July 13th, 2021 Cottage Grove Economic Development Authority meeting, which I'm calling to order. First order of business is roll call.
EDA President Bailey,
Aye.
EDA Vice President Dennis,
Happy to be back.
EDA Member Carey,
Aye.
EDA Member Myers,
Present.
EDA Member Smoot. She emailed and was out of town. So EDA Member Thewis.
Here.
Fantastic. Welcome back, everybody, in person. We were kind of laughing about that a little bit earlier about all of us. Oh, that's right, it's in person now. But it is nice to be back in person. The next item on our agenda today is number 3 is approval of the minutes. 3.1 is approval of the April 13, 2021 EDA meeting minutes. And if there were no changes or corrections, I will look for a motion and a second to approve.
Motion to approve the minutes.
We have a motion by EDA Vice President Dennis,
I'll second.
second by EDA Member Carey. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is number 4, which is business items. 4.1 is the business development update and business inquiry. And Christine, I think you're going to take us through this.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you. So to begin, we have a couple beige book updates. The first from April. So this is related to the April in the 9th district. So employment was flat with rising labor demand, offset by labor constraints. Employment losses continued in entertainment, hospitality, and retail, while firms adding staff were led by finance and manufacturing. Wage and price pressures were modest. Wage pressure was strongest in construction, finance, and manufacturing. Consumer spending rose moderately and was spurred by the federal stimulus to the households. Commercial construction continued to slow overall, and residential remained strong. Commercial real estate was mixed. Other sectors saw an increase in vacancy, and manufacturing activity was moderate, and expectations called for growth to resume. The May report, employment was flat with rising labor demand, offset by labor constraints. Employment losses continued in entertainment, hospitality, and retail, while firms adding staff were led by finance and manufacturing. Again, wage and price pressures were moderate. Wage pressure was strongest in construction, finance, and manufacturing. Consumer spending continued to rise. Commercial construction continued to slow overall, but residential remained strong, and I think we saw that here in Cottage Grove. Commercial real estate continued to be mixed. Manufacturing activity was moderate, and expectations calling for growth to resume. And I would say we've seen that as well in our business park. Grove 80 Apartments, the contractors are working on various stages of the interior and exterior construction. They still plan and hope to be open this fall, so we hope to have a ribbon cutting at that time. Cap Industries, driving by this morning, the front panels of the building are on, so footing and underground plumbing has been completed and they are going vertical. Airgas is scheduled to start production in mid-July. Have asked that, again, we have a ribbon cutting and potentially a tour just to kind of understand their operations. So look for that on the horizon as well. Salons by JC, the project is in various rough-in stages, interior. Boondocks, we will come back to this later, but they're doing an interior remodel project. It's in various stages of rough-in construction. Optimal Health Performance / Training for Warriors East Metro, they received their certificate of occupancy for their new space, which is located next to Von Hansen's at East Point Douglas Road and Jamaica Avenue. We held a ribbon cutting on July 30th, and Councilmember Dennis was kind enough to do the remarks, and I think it was the longest and most well-attended ribbon cutting we've had in for a very long time.
And I did not extend it, so.
I was going to say Dennis is talking.
Sorry there's no hoorah from me.
It was all good.
Rolling Meadows, this will be it was on the June Planning Commission. KLC of Wilmar, Inc. Requested a zoning amendment to rezone 17.6 acres from agricultural preservation to single-family residential. Proposal consisted of 41 detached single-family homes and 3 outlots. So in the image, you can kind of see where it's located near the Woodbury border and its connection to an existing residential development. Made in Cottage Grove. I'm really excited about this. I was chatting with our communications manager, Scott Soroka, and one thing I thought was, gosh, do residents really know what's being made and done in our business park? So we reached out to numerous businesses in our business park and asked them if we could come and create a video to showcase their business, and most were very receptive. And as we saw in the reports from the Federal Reserve, there's a need for jobs at those businesses. So it also allowed them the opportunity to say, hey, we have positions open, come on in, we're hiring. So if you don't mind, I'd like to show you our first video, Renewal by Anderson. And then our second video will be Modern Automotive Performance. So thank you, Chris, very much, appreciate it. We have North Star Sheets, Advanced Corporation, which has been in our business park a long time, and I'm not sure people know that they make beautiful awards and the braille you see outside of office doors and so forth. And then Avica CCE Technologies, which does a lot of jet milling of product to a fine powder, which I personally kind of found fascinating. So with that, if you don't mind.
Renewal by Anderson has been around for about 26 years and dedicated to becoming a world-class homeowner experience company. It's about making a difference. We go into people's homes. That's typically your most prized possession, your biggest investments. We take that very seriously and we want to honor that, and we want to knock your socks off. We know a lot of people have had a bad home improvement project in their lives, and we want to be that best home improvement project and find out when we do that, we make a difference in their lives. And so we take a lot of pride in that. I would say one of the things that sets us apart from a lot of people in the replacement window business is we do it all. There are a lot of places that install somebody else's manufactured window, but we obviously do it all for you. And I would say we have what we call signature service. It's all about how we take care of the customer, and it goes back to that vision of being a world-class homeowner experience company. We want to hire people that care, want to go above and beyond and take care of our customers.
It's a diverse culture. It's very inclusive. A great place for career development where we feel like our employees can make a difference. We pride ourselves in innovation and learning.
It's the first time in the history of J.D. Powers that one company has won both of their awards, because they have one for manufacturing and one for retail. And so to be recognized by a company like J.D. Powers with both awards was quite a victory for Renewal. Renewal by Anderson is very proud that we were recently named by Forbes as one of the top companies for diversity and inclusion. It's been a huge effort of ours. We want everybody to feel welcome here and everybody to feel like they can thrive here. Creating more jobs is something that we're very proud of. And going back to 2016, we did our first expansion and added 200 more jobs. And we just had another expansion in 2020. So we went from 350,000 square feet to 700,000 square feet, over 1,000 jobs. And it feels really good to be a part of a thriving community where we're adding back to that community.
We're hiring. We have over 300 positions in the Cottage Grove facility, and this is just a great time to come and be a part of the organization.
If you want to join something where people actually care about the quality they put into things and care about the service and taking care of people, it's a fast-moving company. We're constantly growing. We've had huge success over the last 10 years. So it's a place you can join, feel good about the culture, feel good about the quality, and have an opportunity to grow.
We have a number of people that have grown in leadership positions within the organization, and so just a fantastic place to learn and develop and to grow your career, and it's the last place you'll ever want to work.
Nice.
So thank you. So yeah, I think it's a really great way that we can showcase businesses. Also, we can use some of these videos when we go to different conventions and expos. As part of our new display, we do have a TV, and so we can show these videos, what other businesses are in our community, and maybe there's some sort of joint connection between those businesses where, you know, they can partner with each other in the future. So more videos to come. We'll try and release one about every month. We have been putting them on our Facebook as well, giving them to the business, and then I've been posting them on our website too. So
Fantastic.
Just an update about Apadan. So they had requested rezoning a PUD for the 8.45 acres between Hardwood and Harkness behind the Shops of Gateway North. It's a market rate, 171 unit, 4-story apartment building. So they received approvals this year. With COVID and construction prices at the time, they're choosing to wait to start development next year. So I just wanted to give you that update. We do have a special city council meeting tomorrow. We have 3 items on that agenda. The first is Bethesda Lutheran Communities. They're looking to develop a 48-unit multifamily-oriented development. It will be affordable, roughly at 50 and 35% area median income. 25% of their units will be for those with intellectual or developmental disabilities. They provide services as well as those individuals are really at the status where they can be independent, but there's enough staff there to provide any assistance if they needed that. And so they will be explaining their project tomorrow to City Council. They have or will be applying to Minnesota Housing for low-income housing tax credits, I believe, which is due applications tomorrow. But they have also requested TIF from the city as part of that project. So what we've told them is they'll get a resolution from us at this time. If they do receive funding from Minnesota Housing, they do have to come back to us with an updated pro forma, and we'll rerun those TIF to determine what those new revised numbers are. And so the location has sat vacant, gosh, for a number of years. So it's west of Legends of Cottage Grove and just south of White Pines. You can kind of see on Camel's Hump an area where there are no trees. There is a large gas pipeline easement that runs through this development. So that means no building can be located on top of that. So that's really, when we've had other developments come through, has been a struggle for them to situate a building on the site, but Bethesda, since they're doing a smaller footprint, can get that to work. The second item is from TCO Design and Everest Properties on behalf of, I'm going to mess up the builder's name, Palaya Builders, and they're proposing a 31-unit market rate, 3-story apartment building to be located behind the Apadan project. So the Apadan project is located here. This is the Shops at Gateway North. And so they have looking at this 3.45 acre site in this location. Again, they will be coming to council tomorrow night to share their proposal and receive any feedback from council. And then the last item is from 360 Real Estate. They've been working on a potential redevelopment of the Cedarhurst Mansion property. The developer had held an open house in early June. And at that time, they were to take comments that they received from elected officials as well as residents and kind of incorporate that into the revised plans. So they are supposed to be sharing their updated site plan tomorrow night for any comments or feedback. And with that, I take any questions.
Any questions for the EDA on any of these topics? All right, looks like you're easy. Made it through it there. All right, well, thank you on that. And the next item under business items is 4.2, which is the 2021 Facade Improvement Program applications. And you're taking us through this one too.
Yes. So we began this program in 2019. The Facade Improvement Program is a popular way to incentivize investments to exterior of commercial buildings. It's meant to help beautify, increase awareness of consumers, of business, and keep a healthy business commercial building stock here in Cottage Grove by making sure they're code compliant. So as part of that, we are providing a 50% financial match to commercial property and or business owners. We established criteria, and that criteria is they need to be located in the city of Cottage Grove, specifically based on the priority map, which I'll show here in a second. The ability to encourage improvements to surrounding businesses, the ability to improve the appearance and attractiveness of an area, consistent with our comp plan, compliance with codes. Priority may be given to local businesses over national or retail or regional tenants, and building owners who have not previously been awarded a grant will be considered before those who've already received grant fundings. So when we started the program, we established 2 priority zones. So you can see priority zone 1 kind of in the limeish green color. So that's at 80th Street and East Point Douglas, and then Jamaica and East Point Douglas, as well as Langdon Village area, and then across where 80th Street Crossing is. Priority zone 2 is along West Point Douglas Road, 70th and Hinton area, and then up here again at 70th and Keats. We picked those areas based on visibility, traffic counts, where we see that highest visibility of our commercial. So originally we had $5,000 for grant funding to award, but based on the applications we received in 2019, we determined that it was better to market towards larger projects. So in 2020, the funding was changed to reflect the larger scope to a maximum of $25,000. And then in 2020, we also faced challenges of the pandemic. So the EDA approved an additional $50,000 for a total budget of $75,000, which allows us to award up to 3 $25,000 grants. So you can see below here who we have awarded to in the past: the Oasis Chiropractic Building, Culver's, Jamaica Plaza, and the Shops at Gateway North. And the Shops at Gateway North is starting to do their work if you've driven by recently. So our first applicant this year is at 7702 80th Street. It's the proposed Caribou Cabin. The building that was existing there has sat vacant for the time I've been with the city of Cottage Grove for at least 5 years. It is located in our priority zone 1. The applicant has requested grant funding for the demo of the existing building, landscape, and a monument sign. The proposed project cost for those 3 items is $97,000, and the applicant has requested the full $25,000. The next is 8799 East Point Douglas Road, Carlson Auto. Again, they are in priority zone 1. The applicant is requesting grant funds to replace all 7 garage doors. So he has 5 smaller doors and 2 larger ones. And then matching shed and painting of the yellow bollards on each side so it looks updated. And then removal of the blue awning. I know the image still shows the blue awning, but I gave him a call and he's going to remove that because he thinks with the darker doors, it'll give it a more clean, modern look. The proposed cost is $49,250, and again, the applicant has requested the full amount. The next is 8617 to 8619 West Point Douglas Road. It's called the West Point Business Center. It's located in priority zone 2. The proposed project consists of tuck pointing and block replacement as needed over the entire building, and then acid washing to provide a clean, unified look. So as they replace blocks, sometimes it doesn't quite match the existing color, hence the acid wash. So again, the project cost is $75,000, and the applicant is requesting the full grant amount. The last one, 7402 Lamar, is recently purchased. It's going to be Boondocks Vintage Boutique. It is not in either of our priority zones. The applicant had requested funding for redoing the parking lot and sidewalk to make it ADA compliant, replacement some of the building boards, paint, and landscaping. The submittal of the application was on time, and the applicant submitted invoices via MAC format. We're PC-based, so couldn't open them here. Requested that she send them to me directly via my email or come drop them off, and I have not received them. I gave her till Friday. Be nice, gave her till Monday, and I haven't heard anything. I did let her know if you look at the site on an aerial, the parking lot, actually half of it is not owned by this property. It falls within the city right away. So she wouldn't be able to replace the whole parking lot. So hence, she did request the full amount, but not receiving the invoices in advance. To me, I feel like this, as a staff recommendation, the application kind of becomes null and void. So with that, I have a recommendation before you and can take any questions.
All right, EDA, any questions on the projects that were presented to us this morning? Any questions for staff or any issues or concerns whatsoever? You're getting away easy today.
Maybe I should have done like a cartwheel.
Yeah, there you go. So if there are no additional questions or anything, staff is recommending awarding the grants to Caribou Cabin, Carlson Auto, and Point West Business Center. And if that is the EDA's desire, I will need a motion in a second.
I just had a question. So does the buck stop here, so to speak, or does this go to city council and then?
No, this actually, good question, EDA member Carey. This actually does not go to the council. This is automatic, because this is one of the programs, if you will, that the EDA is sole proprietor for. So there wouldn't be any changes. It would move forward.
And so essentially, we had 3 applicants for 25,000. We allocated 75,000. So it just happens that it exactly matches up with what we had allocated.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think if the 4th application was complete, then you would have the option to decide which didn't meet the requirements or criteria, or
Or do
if-
2020, 2015 or something like that, yeah.
right, yeah. Or if you choose to not want to award the full grant amount, that as the EDA is your choosing.
I'm just trying to think if there's any scenario where we wouldn't want to do that for any of these projects, I guess, but.
Normally,
The
we-
Carlson Auto one's very compelling, like that
Oh,
one,
yeah.
I think is a
Yep.
great one. The Point West, I don't know, is that gonna, I'm trying to think what the goal of the project is and what is this going to accomplish that? When I drive by the building, I don't go, that's an ugly building that needs to have improvements done, but
Yeah,
they
my-
obviously need to maintain it. So it's like, is this a maintenance thing? Is the building really gonna look
Different.
substantially better?
Yeah.
my guess leans more towards maintenance in this regard. It's hard to say if the acid wash will freshen it up. It's a little bit of a crapshoot.
Yep. So that one would be my, so that's my concern there. And then Caribou is like, huge national chain. I don't know if they have franchises or what it is. I mean, is this, did they receive any other funding as far as TIF or anything along those lines?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm. It is a franchise. I will say, we gave money to Culver's, but they are also franchised, so.
Yeah, so it was prioritized that it would be, local businesses if possible, so.
Right.
This one kind of, because I think the TIF funds are, what's the verbiage? Well, this wouldn't happen unless you were to receive the TIF funds, and this
Yeah.
is not the case here, obviously, like they're gonna move forward if they, or that's not part of this.
Right. Caribou did not receive any other city funding, such as tax increment financing, TIF, which you have to prove a but-for analysis.
That was it, yep.
But without this funding, the project would not come through, so.
And Mayor, members of the EDA, the other thing too to note is if you see the sign that's there, they legally could use that sign. And staff felt that one way to compel them to bring in a monument sign that was fully compliant with our new regulations was to help provide some funding to do that, because legally they could have used that pylon sign and could have stayed in place. And so this provides them, another opportunity to make an improvement to the property that they didn't have to legally make.
Yeah, that makes sense, and I think this is another situation where that older building where this would absolutely have a facade improvement to it, so I could see that. So yeah, I guess any concerns that I would have would be on the third project with, I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, this
The
one.
West Point.
Yep.
Council, or EDA member, Vice President Dennis, or council member.
Yeah, I can go by either. I do agree with Mr. Carey's thoughts, and the West Point Douglas, that really is more of a maintenance thing, especially with the caulking and some of the other things that we're talking about doing. I don't know I guess bang for the buck, if that is going to provide something that unless you're walking right up along that sidewalk where the crack is, you're not gonna be able to see that. And so that one for me, I wasn't gonna raise a stink about it, but that one really didn't feel like it was within the scope of the intention of what we have tried to do.
And that's what is to the EDA to decide. We did allow, in terms of our criteria, improvements for maintenance, with the hope that it'll improve the look and hope that others will improve their property. So that's why this application moved forward. It is a bit of maintenance. It's to prevent water damage, I would assume. I'm not an engineer. I'll look to our engineer in the room. To go down between the sidewalk and the building and so forth and prevent water from seeping in where that caulking has deteriorated over the years, so.
How
Again.
old is that building? Does anyone know? I mean, is it 10 years old or?
I think it's Councilmember, or look at now, I'm giving you Councilmember, EDA member Myers. It's at least 10 years. It's probably 13 to 15.
Okay.
It's been there a while. Interestingly enough, and I was glad that somebody brought it up, so thank you. That this was the only one to me too that kind of just felt like it was different than the other ones. There's a structural opportunity with Caribou Cabin. There's a structural opportunity, I think, with Carlson Auto down there, because that, as you look at the picture of what it is today to what it's going to be in the future, I would 100% agree with both of those. And obviously the Boondocks thing, though neat, is not really in our area that we're looking for. Personally speaking, if the EDA were to say, we want to provide the funding for Carlson Auto and the Caribou Cabin opportunity and not award the third amount of money, because I agree with this is different. If they were doing something with Facade or something, and I would almost like to say then we just hold that money for the time being. And if something else comes up later this year and somebody else says, hey, we want to do this and we could use some of that funding, I would be interested to have it come back to the EDA for a vote and a reconsideration or a consideration of expanding or spending that additional money. So, I mean, I don't know what the EDA's thoughts are on, in my opinion, I think the two projects make total sense. The third one, it's more maintenance. And not that we don't want to help them with maintenance per se, but really, and I think you brought it up too, visually, that building looks really nice to me. I even had some, to be honest with you, last year when the Shops at Gateway North was being done, I thought, well, that business really looks decent too. But then when he shared with us kind of how they were taking some of what they'll call the datedness out of that building, it goes, okay, I can understand that, why we'd want to support them on that. Or even Culver's or some of these other places like that. So my personal opinion would be that we award the two, not award the third, and hold off on that one and see if there's something for the future.
I would agree with that.
I agree.
Okay?
Agree.
All right, if that's the case, then we have an amended motion, if you will, in front of us, if somebody wants to ad-lib that a little bit.
Yeah, I can try. I'd like to make a recommendation and motion to consider awarding Caribou Cabin and Carlson Auto an award letter and contract for each project of $25,000 as a part of the facade improvement program.
All right, so we have a motion by EDA member Myers, second by EDA Vice President Dennis. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Wonderful.
There you go. And thank you for bringing that up. It's a good idea. All right, number 5 is public hearings. We have none this morning. 6 is other business. 6.1 is EDA Calendar. I didn't really see anything on there other than we do just for the EDA. There is going to be a nighty night this year on August 5th. 5th, I believe. It's the first Tuesday in August, so whatever that is, 5th or 6th. And the last I heard, matter of fact, my wife was at one of the meetings last night, and there's 38 parties scheduled so far, so it's looking pretty good, along with noon outs at all the senior facilities.
You said the second Tuesday in August?
Yep. No, I think it's first Tuesday.
First Tuesday is August 3rd.
Okay, then it's the 3rd. Okay. So that'll be kind of a neat deal, so continue to spread the word there. And I think that was really it at this moment on that. EDA comments? Any comments or requests? Yes, EDA Vice President Dennis.
Thank you, Mayor Billy. I would request of staff that In the future, when we have circumstances like this, where we're going through and talking about the facade improvement program, if there are certain details, such as this pylon sign, right? If we could be advised of that kind of ahead of time, I mean, we do get emails as council on a wide variety of topics where we just get a little bit of a tip of the cap, just so we can kind of understand what it is that's going on or why something would be structured in a certain way, because I know a lot of times with the communications that take place between staff and applicants, we're not really involved in that. We don't get involved until we get a finished product here. So if there's something that, you know, as you kind of look at it, and I think you've gotten to know us all pretty well, if there's something you think that maybe we want to have a little bit of a advance notice on, or even provide an opportunity where, you know, we can't do certain things relative to open meeting law, right? But you can certainly poll those of us or get an indication of how you think the EDA might roll on something. I think that might be helpful. So it would for me, and I know I called you here last week and we discussed a couple of those issues, but it'd be nice if we could get a little bit of a tip of the cap on that.
Definitely. Will
Thank
do.
you.
Okay. All right, 6.3 is response to previous EDA comments. I don't believe there was any at this point. 7 is a workshop. We do not have a workshop this morning. And so guess what? We're all the way to number 8 at just after 8 o'clock. So I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn by EDA member Thews. Oh, I have second?
Second.
Second by EDA member Carey. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned. Thanks, everybody.